I never thought a single dinner could shatter my entire life. But that's exactly what happened the night Marissa decided to open her mouth and ruin everything. Hey guys, welcome back to Wacky Reddit Stories. This video is, yeah, just watch till the end. This story is insane. Sit down and buckle up because things are about to get wacky. It had been a grueling day at work. I'd spent 10 hours in back-to-back meetings, handling crisis after crisis at the social media firm where I'd been climbing the ladder for years. I was exhausted, physically and mentally drained, but I pushed myself to get home on time. I had promised Marissa I'd cook dinner tonight, just like I always did when she had a bad day at work. When I walked through the door, the apartment was filled with the scent of garlic and tomatoes simmering in the pot. Marissa was perched on the couch, scrolling through her phone, her brow furrowed. The TV was playing some reality show about spoiled, rich housewives, the kind of show Marissa used to hate but now watched religiously. I set the table, lighting a candle to make the cramped dining area feel a little less suffocating. I poured us both glasses of wine, hoping it might loosen the tension that had been hanging between us for months now. But Marissa stayed glued to her phone, tapping away as if I didn't exist. "Rough day?" I asked, setting my bag down and rolling up my sleeves. "Yeah," she muttered without looking up. "I got passed over for that promotion, again." I winced. Marissa had been angling for that promotion for months. She worked in PR for a big fashion label and she was damn good at her job. But her boss was a nightmare, always dangling the carrot but never giving her the raise she deserved. "I'm sorry, babe," I said. "Hey guys, welcome back to maybe next time Reddit Stories." "Maybe," she said. "This
Still
video
glued to her
is,
phone.
her fingers were tapping furiously.
Just watch till the end.
I don't know
This
why I
story is
bothered trying
insane.
so hard. I mean, sit
Look at
down
Jason.
and buckle up. He
Because
barely lifts a
things
finger and he's living in a penthouse
are about to
downtown.
get
wacky. Jason. There it was. The ex-boyfriend who still managed to live rent-free in our marriage. Back when we first started dating, Marissa couldn't stand to even say his name. Jason was the guy who cheated on her with her best friend. The guy who'd called her crazy and blocked her after they broke up. The guy who drove a leased BMW and pretended it was his. Now she brought him up every chance she got. And it wasn't just the name-dropping. It was the constant comparisons. If Jason took his new girlfriend to a 5-star restaurant, Marissa would drop hints about how she missed eating at fancy places. If Jason posted a vacation picture from Bali, she'd sigh and say, "Must be nice to travel whenever you want." I tried to ignore it. I tried to tell myself she was just venting. But the cracks in our marriage were widening every day, and I could feel them, like tiny fissures spreading beneath the surface, ready to break everything apart. Dinner was tense. Marissa barely said a word, just kept shoving pasta around her plate, scowling. I tried to make small talk, but she was somewhere else, somewhere that definitely wasn't here with me. "So, I was thinking," I said, trying to break the silence. "Maybe we could take a weekend trip. Just you and me. Go to that cabin you love upstate. Unplug for a bit." "Oh, you mean that dump we stayed in last year?" she shot back, her eyes flashing. "You mean the one where the hot water barely worked and the bed creaked all night?" My jaw clenched. "I thought you liked that place." "I was trying to be nice, Ryan," she snapped, shoving her plate away. "But honestly, I'm tired of pretending everything's fine. I'm tired of pretending that I'm happy with this mediocre life." "Mediocre?" "Yes, mediocre. Jesus, Ryan, look at us. You work a dead-end job at some stupid social media firm. We live in a tiny apartment with secondhand furniture, and you think a weekend in a rundown cabin is some kind of grand gesture?" I could feel the anger rising in my chest, tightening my throat. "I work 10 hours a day, Marissa. I'm trying my best." "Well, maybe your best isn't good enough," she screamed, standing up so quickly her chair clattered to the floor. "At least Jason could afford luxury." The words hung in the air like a bomb. Jason, luxury. My wife was comparing me to the man who once made her cry so hard she couldn't breathe. The man who called her worthless and cheated on her more times than she could count. I pushed back from the table, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. "Wow, got it. You know what? Maybe you should go call Jason then. Maybe he'll buy you that life you're so desperate for." "Ryan," Marissa's eyes were wide, panic-stricken, but it was too late. I didn't hear the rest. I grabbed my keys and walked out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. And that was the night everything changed. I left Marissa behind, her accusations and her anger echoing in my mind like a haunting refrain. The life we built together was crumbling, and for the first time, I was the one holding the wrecking ball. Part 2. The days following that explosive duel. The days following that explosive dinner felt like a blur. I moved into a friend's guest room, crashing on a sagging futon that creaked every time I rolled over. The walls were thin, and I could hear Marissa's voicemails piling up, her voice sounding smaller and more desperate each time. "Ryan, please. I didn't mean it. I was just angry. Call me back. Ryan, can we talk? Please, just hear me out. Ryan, I'm sorry. I love you." Each message was like a small dagger, a reminder of everything we used to be and everything we could never get back. I tried to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, I heard her words again. At least Jason could afford luxury. Meanwhile, Marissa kept reaching out, texting me at all hours. One night, she showed up at my friend's apartment, pounding on the door until I finally opened it. She was standing there, mascara streaked down her cheeks, a bottle of wine clutched in her hand. "Ryan," she whispered, eyes glistening. "Can we just talk? Please?" "There's nothing left to say, Marissa," I said, my voice flat. "You made it clear what you really think of me." "That's not true," she cried, stepping closer, the wine sloshing in the bottle. "I was just mad. I was hurt. You don't understand how much pressure I'm under." "Pressure?" I scoffed. "You think I don't feel pressure, Marissa? I work my ass off every day to try and build something with you, and all you can do is compare me to Jason." "He's nothing," she shouted, and for a moment, her eyes flared with that familiar fire. "He's nothing to me." "Then why do you keep bringing him up?" I asked, voice breaking. "Why can't you just let him go?" Marissa's shoulders slumped, and she pressed her hand against her mouth, as if trying to hold back a sob. "I don't know," she whispered. "I don't know." But I did. She wasn't over Jason. She never was. The weeks dragged on. Marissa kept calling, sending long, rambling texts at 2 a.m., promising to change, begging for another chance. I tried to focus on work, on the gym, on anything but the empty ache in my chest. One night, Marissa's sister called. "Ryan, you need to know something. Marissa's been seeing Jason." "What?" I said, my heart sinking. "They've been spotted together at bars, restaurants. She told me she was done with him, but I don't know. I think she's falling back into old patterns." I felt sick. All those texts, all those pleas for me to come back, and she was still running back to Jason. It was the final nail in the coffin. The next morning, I filed for divorce. Marissa was served the papers 2 days later. I half expected her to storm into my office, screaming, begging, accusing. But she didn't. Instead, she went radio silent. Then, 2 weeks later, a text from Marissa. "I need to talk. It's urgent." The days following that explosive dinner felt like a blur. I moved into a friend's guest room, crashing on a sagging futon that creaked every time I rolled over. The walls were thin, and I could hear Marissa's voicemails piling up, her voice sounding smaller and more desperate each time. "Ryan, please, I didn't mean it. I was just angry. Call me back. Ryan, can we talk? Please, just hear me out. Ryan, I'm sorry. I love you." But I couldn't listen. I couldn't unhear her saying Jason's name, the way her voice dripped with envy when she mentioned his so-called luxury. It was like a knife twisting deeper every time I replayed that moment. Meanwhile, Marissa kept reaching out, texting me at all hours. One night, she showed up at my friend's apartment, pounding on the door until I finally opened it. She was standing there, mascara streaked down her cheeks, a bottle of wine clutched in her hand. "Ryan," she whispered, eyes glistening. "Can we just talk? Please?" "There's nothing left to say, Marissa," I said, my voice flat. "You made it clear what you really think of me." "That's not true," she cried, stepping closer, the wine sloshing in the bottle. "I was just mad. I was hurt. You don't understand how much pressure I'm under." "Pressure?" I scoffed. "You think I don't feel pressure, Marissa? I work my ass off every day to try and build something with you, and all you can do is compare me to Jason." "He's nothing," she shouted, and for a moment her eyes flared with that familiar fire. "He's nothing to me." "Then why do you keep bringing him up?" I asked, voice breaking. "Why can't you just let him go?" Marissa's shoulders slumped, and she pressed her hand against her mouth, as if trying to hold back a sob. I don't know, she whispered. I don't know. But I did. She wasn't over Jason. She never was. And that was the night I decided to move forward with the divorce papers. I agreed to meet Marissa at the coffee shop where we first met. The place was quieter now, the once bustling cafe nearly empty. Marissa sat alone at a corner table, her hands wrapped around a coffee cup that had gone cold. She looked up when I walked in, her eyes tired and swollen. Thanks for coming, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. What's so urgent? I asked, keeping my distance. Marissa swallowed, her hands trembling. I'm pregnant. The words hit me like a freight train. My eyes darted to her stomach, still flat beneath her sweater. Jason's? Yes, she said, her voice cracking. And he's gone. Took off to Miami. Said he wasn't ready to be a dad. Said I was too much drama. A bitter laugh escaped me. Guess luxury wasn't all it was cracked up to be, huh? Ryan, please, she said, leaning forward, her eyes pleading. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I don't know what to do. I have nothing. No job, no money, no support. That's not my problem anymore, Marissa, I said, crossing my arms. You chose Jason. You chose that life. Now you can live with it. I made a mistake, she sobbed, tears streaming down her cheeks. I threw away everything for someone who never even loved me. And you expect me to what? Save you? I shook my head. I tried to save you, Marissa. I tried to build something real with you. But you wanted more. You wanted Jason's world. Now you're living in it. Marissa covered her face, her shoulders shaking. People were starting to stare, but I didn't care. I stood up, grabbing my coat. Goodbye, Marissa. Ryan, please, she called after me, her voice echoing through the cafe. But I kept walking. 2 months later, I heard through mutual friends that Marissa was struggling. Jason was officially dating someone new, a model, of course. And Marissa was drowning in debt, trying to survive on odd jobs and part-time work. Every now and then, I'd get a text from her. A simple, I miss you, or I'm so sorry. But I never replied. I was done being her safety net. Done being her backup plan. And for the first time in years, I felt like I could finally breathe again. The divorce process dragged on for months. Marissa tried every trick in the book to stall it. Pleading for counseling, claiming she was working on herself, even suggesting we go on a weekend retreat to reconnect. But I was done. In the meantime, the rumors about Marissa and Jason started circulating. Mutual friends told me they'd seen them together at fancy restaurants, walking hand in hand like old times. It shouldn't have hurt, but it did. Even after everything, she was still chasing after that life she thought she deserved. Then, one evening, I got a call from Marissa's sister. Ryan, have you heard? Heard what? Marissa's pregnant. Jason's the father. My chest tightened. I gripped the phone until my knuckles turned white. And Jason? Gone. Disappeared. Moved to Miami with some 22-year-old Instagram model. Marissa's a mess. She's been calling everyone, begging for help. I hung up the phone and stared at the ceiling, feeling a sick sense of satisfaction mixed with pity. She got exactly what she wanted, Jason's luxury. And now she was paying the price. A week later, Marissa showed up at my apartment, belly swollen under a loose hoodie, eyes hollow. Ryan, please, I don't know what to do. He left me. I have nothing. I leaned against the doorframe, feeling the cold air brush against my skin. You wanted a guy like Jason. Now you've got him. Ryan, please, she whispered, tears spilling over. I made a mistake. I love you. No, I said, my voice firm. You love what you thought I could give you. But it was never enough, was it? Now you're on your own. I shut the door in her face, her sobs echoing in the hallway. And for the first time in years, I felt like I could finally breathe again.